They will smile in your face, call you family, swear they've got your back until the moment you need them most. That's when silence answers your call. That's when you realize how few people ever meant what they said. You ever notice how everyone says, "I've got you," but when life gets hard, they disappear? How the people who swore they loved you can switch sides like they were never on your team? That's not bad luck, that's life showing you what's real. We live in a world built on masks. Some wear the mask of friendship, others wear the mask of love, loyalty, kindness, but behind most of those masks is one truth. People care as long as it benefits them. The moment it doesn't, the mask falls. And that's what no one tells you growing up. They teach you to be kind, to trust, to believe the best in everyone, but not how to survive in a world where most people aren't what they pretend to be. They don't teach you how to read the room, how to spot the fake smiles, how to guard your soul when everyone's selling authenticity for attention. But here's what I've learned. Trusting the wrong people isn't your weakness, it's your awakening. Because every person who lies to you, uses you, betrays you, they don't just show you who they are. They show you who you must become. Stronger, sharper, quieter. So don't get bitter. Get smarter. Because the world isn't kind to the naive. It rewards the ones who see through the act and still choose peace. And before you say, "I don't trust anyone," understand this. The goal isn't to hate people. The goal is to stop handing your trust to people who haven't earned it. The goal is to build yourself so strong that no one's betrayal can shake your peace again. You think you're alone because people turned fake? No, you're alone because you finally stopped entertaining the fake. And that's the beginning of your power. Trust. It sounds beautiful when you say it out loud. It feels like warmth, safety, and connection. But in reality, trust is one of the most dangerous gifts you can give another human being. Because the moment you trust someone blindly, you hand them a weapon, the weapon of access. You give them the power to lift you or destroy you. And too often, they choose the latter. We grow up being told to see the good in everyone, to give people the benefit of the doubt, to believe that honesty and loyalty will always be reciprocated. But the truth is, most people don't see you the way you see them. You might see them through the lens of love, loyalty, and purity, but they see you through the lens of convenience. What can they gain from you? How can they use you? How long can they stay before you catch on? And that's where the illusion begins. The illusion that the world is full of people like you. You think everyone means well because you mean well. You assume people care because you care. But that's projection, not perception. You're not seeing people as they are. You're seeing them as you hope they'll be. That's why you keep getting hurt, because you keep expecting lions to act like lambs. You keep expecting snakes to have loyalty. Trust blinds you when you want to believe too much. You ignore the red flags because you're afraid of being lonely. You justify the lies because you crave connection. You keep people close even when your intuition screams something's off. But understand this, your mind may be fooled, your emotions may be manipulated, but your gut never lies. Every time you said, "I knew something wasn't right," that was your inner truth trying to save you from the illusion you refuse to see. People often confuse kindness with weakness. The moment they realize you're genuine, they think you're easy to manipulate. The moment they feel your loyalty, they assume you'll never walk away. That's the risk of being real in a world full of masks. Authenticity becomes a target. People don't always appreciate your honesty. They exploit it. They don't always value your trust. They test it. But don't misunderstand, trust itself isn't the problem. The problem is trusting too soon, too deeply, and too often without proof. You must understand that trust is not love. Trust is not faith. Trust is currency. And like any currency, it must be earned, tested, and protected. You wouldn't hand your bank account over to a stranger, so why hand your soul over so easily? Sometimes the person you trust the most will be the one to teach you why you should have trusted less. It's not because people are evil, it's because people are human, and humans are selfish by nature. Most act based on need, not integrity. Their loyalty lasts only as long as the benefit does. Once you stop feeding their ego or offering value, they vanish. They move on, pretending you never existed, rewriting the story to make themselves the victim. But here's the truth: betrayal doesn't happen because you're weak. It happens because you trusted from the heart in a world that operates from the ego. You thought being genuine was enough, but in this world, it's not. You have to be genuine and guarded. You have to love with awareness, not blindness. Because blind trust is like walking into a battlefield unarmed and hoping everyone else is on your side. You see, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every lie, they aren't meant to destroy you. They're meant to open your eyes. They're wake-up calls from life, reminding you that trust is a privilege, not a right. You don't owe anyone access to your heart just because they smile at you. You don't owe anyone forgiveness just because they apologize. You owe yourself peace, and that peace begins with learning to discern who deserves your energy. So stop expecting loyalty from people who can't even be honest with themselves. Stop expecting consistency from those who thrive on convenience. Stop thinking everyone's intentions are as pure as yours. That's not cynicism, that's wisdom. Because once you stop expecting people to act like you stop getting disappointed. You stop giving power to the ones who never deserved it. The illusion of trust breaks when you finally accept that not everyone you lose is a loss. Some exits are protection. Some betrayals are blessings. Every person who walks away leaves behind a lesson, a truth you needed to see. Maybe that person wasn't fake the whole time. Maybe they just showed you who they were when their mask slipped. And maybe that's what you needed. Not their loyalty, but their exposure. In life, people will fool you with their words, but they'll always reveal themselves through patterns. Pay attention to the ones who talk big, but show small. The ones who preach loyalty, but gossip behind backs. The ones who smile in your success, but disappear in your struggle. That's how you separate the real from the fake. You don't need to confront them. You just need to see them. Observation is your power. Silence is your revenge. Trust slowly. Test often. Believe only when patterns prove true. That's how you survive in a world full of fake. That's how you protect your peace without hardening your heart. Because when you stop giving your trust away like it's free, you start valuing yourself like you're priceless. You can't stop people from lying. You can't stop them from pretending, using, or leaving. But you can stop expecting. You can stop depending. And you can stop letting disappointment destroy your faith in humanity. The truth is, not everyone's fake. There are still good people out there. They're just rare. They're quiet, they're grounded. And the only way to find them is to become one yourself. When you carry truth within you, deception can't touch you. When you trust yourself more than you trust others, no one's betrayal can break you again. That's how you see through the illusion. Not by building walls, but by building wisdom. Because trust, once earned, can be the most beautiful thing. But until then, keep your eyes open, your heart guarded, and your soul unshaken. Everyone wears a mask. Some wear it to hide pain, others to hide intentions. Some put it on because they fear judgment, while others wear it to deceive. But here's the truth most people can't accept. You don't really know anyone until life tests them. You don't know who's genuine until the benefits run out, until the moment you stop being useful, until the situation no longer favors them. That's when the mask slips and the real face emerges. In this world, people have mastered the art of acting. They can mirror your emotions, echo your values, and play the role you need until they get what they want. They'll pretend to care, to listen, to understand, but their motives are often rooted in self-interest. They'll study your weaknesses, learn your dreams, and use that knowledge to build trust. And once they have it, once you've opened your doors and let them in, they begin to take piece by piece, your time, your energy, your peace, until you're left wondering what went wrong. It's a dangerous game, this theater of life, because the people who seem the most sincere are often the best performers. They know when to smile, when to sympathize, when to compliment. They know how to say the right things, but their actions never quite align. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's survival. Some people fake to fit in, to protect themselves, to avoid being exposed. But others fake because manipulation is their weapon. They study empathy like a tool, charm like a strategy, and honesty like a costume. They can take off whenever it no longer serves them. We live in a culture obsessed with appearances, not truth. People curate their lives, filter their emotions, and sell illusions to be liked. Social media taught the world how to pretend. It trained us to prioritize perception over reality, applause over authenticity. We measure worth by followers, not by integrity. We crave validation more than connection. And in that race for approval, people will wear whatever mask earns them the loudest applause. But the ones who are truly dangerous, they're not loud. They're quiet, observant, calculated. They don't rush to prove they care. They study your emotional language and reflect it back to you like a mirror. They make you believe you've found someone who understands you perfectly until you realize they were only mirroring you to gain your trust. That's the hidden agenda behind most smiles: control. Some people don't want love, they want power. And they'll use affection, attention, and kindness as tools to get it. You'll notice the patterns if you look closely. They compliment you too early. They agree with everything you say. They create instant intimacy as if they've known you for years. It feels magical at first, intoxicating even, because we all crave to be understood. But what they're doing isn't connection, it's calibration. They're learning your emotional blueprint so they can manipulate it later. And when they no longer need you, they'll pull away without warning, leaving you questioning your own reality. Not all masks are malicious, though. Some are born from pain. People wear them because they've been hurt too many times. They fake smiles because they can't afford to show vulnerability. They pretend to be strong because the world doesn't reward sensitivity. And those masks, the ones worn to survive, are the saddest of all. Because behind them are people who desperately want to be real, but the world has taught them that authenticity invites exploitation. So they hide, they perform, they smile through emptiness. You have to learn to see beyond words. People reveal themselves in patterns, not promises. Watch how they treat those who can't offer them anything. Listen to how they speak about others when they're not around. Notice how they act when no one is watching. The mask always slips in silence, not in conversation. And if you pay attention, you'll realize that consistency is the real measure of truth. Anyone can act right once. The real ones act right every time. So how do you protect yourself? In a world full of actors, you learn discernment. You stop falling for words and start watching behavior. You stop giving trust as a gift and make it a privilege to be earned. You don't need to be paranoid, just aware. The goal isn't to build walls, but to build filters. Let people reveal themselves before you decide who they are. Don't rush connection. Let time test it. Time exposes what people try hardest to hide. And here's a truth most people won't admit. Sometimes even you wear a mask. Sometimes you fake being fine when you're breaking inside. You pretend to be unbothered when you're actually hurting. You act like you've moved on when you haven't. And that's okay. We all wear masks sometimes, but the danger comes when you forget to take yours off. Because the more you fake strength, the more you lose touch with your own emotions. The more you pretend to be invincible, the harder it becomes to heal. The power isn't in exposing everyone else's masks, it's in learning to live without yours. When you're authentic, you make the fake uncomfortable. You disrupt their act because your truth doesn't need an audience. Your honesty doesn't seek attention. It simply exists. And that terrifies people who survive through pretense. You will lose people when you choose to live real. You will see faces change, voices shift, and loyalty fade. But don't let that break you. Let it free you. Every person who walks away because they couldn't handle your authenticity was never meant to stay. Their exit isn't a loss, it's clarity. You don't need more people. You need real people. Even if that means fewer. Even if that means walking alone for a while. The world will always have masks. You can't change that. But you can train your eyes to see beneath them. You can learn to listen to energy, not words. You can learn to protect your spirit without losing your compassion. The goal is not to become cold, it's to become wise. To see clearly without judging harshly. To understand that everyone's wearing a mask for a reason, but not everyone deserves to stand close enough to take yours off. Because in the end, masks only fool those who want to believe. When you're grounded in truth, deception loses its power. And the moment you stop needing validation from others, the masks around you begin to fall. One by one, until you're surrounded not by pretenders, but by people who are just as real, raw, and unfiltered as you are. Protecting your energy isn't about isolation. It's about preservation. It's about understanding that not everyone deserves a seat at your table, and not every hand that reaches for you comes with good intentions. Some reach to lift you, yes, but many reach to drain you. That's the truth most people ignore because we're raised to believe that connection is always good. We're told to give, to forgive, to stay open. But being open doesn't mean leaving yourself unguarded. There's a difference between being kind and being naive, between having a big heart and having no boundaries. Every time you let someone into your life, you're giving them access to your peace, your focus, your emotions, your energy. That energy is your fuel. It's what drives your growth, your purpose, your sanity. But when you give it away too freely, you start to run on empty. You begin to feel tired. Not because you're weak, but because you're carrying people who are never meant to go where you're headed. Some people are not partners on your path. They are passengers, and they're only with you until the ride no longer benefits them. That's why you must become selective with your trust. Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Trust should never be given based on emotion alone. It should be earned through consistency. It's easy for people to act right for a moment. The real test is how they act when you say no, when you set a boundary, when you stop being convenient for them. That's when their true nature surfaces. The ones who truly value you will respect your boundaries. The ones who don't will guilt trip you for having them. Pay attention to that, because your boundaries will always expose who's meant to stay and who's meant to leave. Protecting your energy means understanding that not everyone who smiles is safe, not everyone who agrees is genuine, and not everyone who supports you in public stands with you in private. You must learn to observe people's patterns instead of their promises. Watch how they react when you share good news. Do they celebrate you, or do they subtly compete? Notice how they respond when you fail. Do they comfort you, or do they feel secretly relieved? Those small reactions reveal everything you need to know. Energy doesn't lie, words do. The art of selective trust is not about doubting everyone. It's about choosing wisely where you invest yourself. You don't owe anyone your constant availability, your deep emotions, or your blind loyalty. Those are sacred things. The people who deserve them will prove their worth through time, effort, and reciprocity. Everyone else gets access to the surface. Polite, calm. You can be kind without being accessible. You can forgive without reconnecting. You can love people from afar and still protect your peace. Too many people confuse selfishness with self-respect. They'll call you distant when you stop being easy to reach. They'll say you've changed when you stop tolerating their manipulation. But the truth is, you didn't become cold. You became conscious. You started realizing that constantly pouring into others while neglecting yourself isn't generosity, it's self-destruction. You can't save everyone, and you shouldn't have to. You can care deeply and still walk away from people who bring chaos into your life. That's not weakness. That's strength disguised as silence. Think about it. Every time you argue with someone who doesn't value understanding, you lose energy. Every time you try to prove your worth to someone who's already decided not to see it, you lose energy. Every time you keep people around out of guilt or nostalgia, you lose energy. Protecting your energy means being ruthless with what you allow. It means saying no without explanation, walking away without closure, and prioritizing your peace, even if it makes others uncomfortable. You don't owe the world your constant empathy. Empathy without boundaries turns into exhaustion. Compassion without discernment becomes manipulation. You have to learn to balance your heart with your mind, to feel deeply but act wisely. Because the truth is, you can't heal in the same environment that keeps wounding you. Some connections are meant to teach you, not to stay with you. Once the lesson is learned, let them go. When you start protecting your energy, your circle will shrink drastically. The noise will fade, the texts will slow down, but what remains will be pure. You'll start noticing who checks in without needing anything, who listens without judgment, who respects your silence instead of demanding attention. That's the energy worth keeping. That's the kind of trust you should build, not based on words, but on alignment. And sometimes protecting your energy means protecting it from yourself, from the parts of you that crave validation, that chase closure, that keep going back to what hurt you just to prove you can handle it. You have to stop feeding situations that starve your soul. Stop fighting for people who make you question your worth. The peace you're looking for isn't found in convincing others to change. It's found in accepting that you can't. You see, the world doesn't drain you. People do. And most of the time, it's not even the loud, toxic ones. It's the subtle ones. The ones who take and take under the disguise of just needing you. The ones who never pour back, but always expect you to fill them. The ones who make you doubt yourself after every interaction. Protecting your energy means recognizing emotional vampires, those who feed off your light but never give any in return. You can't fix them. You can only stop giving them access. There's peace in being selective. There's strength in silence. You don't have to explain your boundaries to anyone who benefits from crossing them. And you don't have to prove your kindness by exhausting yourself for people who never see your effort. Real maturity is when you stop reacting and start protecting. You stop chasing closure and start choosing calm. You stop trying to prove you're not like the fake ones. You simply start living in truth and let time reveal the rest. In the end, protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's how you maintain clarity in a world built on noise. It's how you keep your heart pure when others try to poison it. And most importantly, it's how you create a life that feels peaceful, not performative. Because when you master the art of selective trust, you stop giving people the power to disturb your spirit. You stop being a victim of betrayal, and you become the guardian of your own peace. That's real power, quiet, grounded, unshakable power. Betrayal is one of the deepest wounds a human heart can experience. It's not just the pain of being lied to or abandoned, it's the shattering of something sacred inside you. You trusted, you believed, you gave someone access to your soul, your secrets, your soft spots. And they turned that access into ammunition. The pain isn't just in what they did, it's in realizing they could, that they looked you in the eyes, promised loyalty, and still chose deceit. That's what betrayal feels like, a collision between what you believed and what truly is. But as much as it burns, betrayal carries a gift, a brutal cleansing truth. It exposes everything you refused to see. It teaches you about people, about motives, and most importantly, about yourself. Pain sharpens perception. Betrayal opens your eyes. It forces you to confront the illusion you built and see people for who they really are, not who you wish they were. When you're betrayed, your first instinct is to break, to question your worth, to blame yourself, to replay every moment wondering where you went wrong. But the truth is, betrayal isn't about your failure. It's about their nature. It reveals their character, not your value. You didn't lose because someone betrayed you. You won clarity. You learned who was pretending, who was temporary, and who was using you as a stepping stone. The pain of betrayal purges illusions. It strips away the fake, the flattering, and the fragile. It leaves you standing in the ruins of what you thought was real. And that's where your transformation begins. Because when there's nothing left to lie to yourself about, you finally see with precision. Your intuition wakes up. You begin to sense things you used to ignore, tone shifts, energy changes, silent withdrawals. You start catching the little inconsistencies that once passed as coincidence. You stop explaining away your discomfort and start trusting it. That's the gift betrayal gives: awareness. It rewires how you read people. Before betrayal, you see faces. After betrayal, you see patterns. Before betrayal, you hear words. After betrayal, you feel energy. It's not paranoia, it's perception refined by pain. You no longer need proof to sense deception because your spirit remembers what it felt like to be fooled. That memory becomes a compass, guiding you away from anything that feels even slightly familiar to that pain. Betrayal also forces you to build emotional independence. When someone you trusted breaks your heart, you learn that peace cannot depend on people. You learn that safety isn't found in relationships, it's found within yourself. You stop looking for others to make you feel secure, seen, or loved, because you understand now how temporary that validation can be. You learn to be your own protector, your own home, and that self-reliance, that unshakable inner stability, is something no one can take from you again. The irony of betrayal is that it comes disguised as loss, but it's actually liberation. The person who betrayed you didn't take something from you, they freed you from illusion. They showed you who never deserved your loyalty in the first place. They saved you years of future pain. Every fake friend, every selfish partner, every manipulative colleague, when they betray you, they're revealing themselves early. That's not punishment, that's protection. The universe exposes people not to break you, but to prepare you, to remove what cannot go with you to the next level of your life. You'll notice this pattern when you look back. Every major betrayal was followed by a breakthrough. Every heartbreak stripped away weakness and replaced it with wisdom. The more you were hurt, the more you learned what peace truly costs. The more people showed you their falseness, the more you learned to treasure authenticity. Betrayal refines your soul, like fire refines gold. It burns away the impurities and leaves behind something purer, stronger, and brighter. Still, healing from betrayal isn't easy. There's anger, sadness, confusion. You'll replay conversations in your mind, wondering how you missed the signs. But healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means transforming the pain into intuition. It means saying, I see you now. I understand what that energy feels like, and I'll never ignore it again. That's not bitterness. That's evolution. The key is not to let betrayal turn your heart cold. Let it make you wiser, not harder. Because once you close your heart completely, you stop attracting the good as well. The goal isn't to mistrust everyone. It's to trust selectively, intelligently. Pain teaches discernment, not paranoia. You don't have to expect betrayal from everyone. You just have to be aware of what betrayal looks like before it happens again. You don't have to live in fear of deception. You just have to recognize the energy of insincerity when it walks into the room. In time, you'll realize that betrayal didn't destroy you. It refined you. It burned away the version of you that was too giving, too forgiving, too blind. It made you careful without making you cruel. It taught you that loyalty without boundaries is self-sabotage. It taught you that you can love deeply and still protect your peace. It taught you that forgiveness doesn't mean access, it means release. You don't have to let them back in to prove you've healed. You just have to move on without resentment. That's the real victory. Every betrayal holds a hidden blessing. It reveals truth. It separates the genuine from the counterfeit. It cleans your environment and clarifies your path. The people who left you, the ones who lied, the ones who turned their backs, they weren't meant to stay. Their exit was alignment. Their betrayal was your redirection. You may not see it immediately, but one day you'll look back and realize that pain built your power. Because the moment you stop seeing betrayal as tragedy and start seeing it as training, everything changes. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what did this teach me? You stop replaying the past and start preparing for the future. You stop clinging to who hurt you and start becoming the person who can't be hurt the same way again. Betrayal taught you to listen when energy shifts, to walk away when respect fades, to stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. It taught you silence is stronger than confrontation. It taught you distance is a form of protection, and it taught you that your peace is priceless. In the end, betrayal is not your ending, it's your awakening. It's life's way of saying you've outgrown this version of love, this level of friendship, this kind of company. Let them go with gratitude, not bitterness, because they didn't destroy you. They helped you discover what you were made of. They turned your pain into intuition, your wounds into wisdom, and your heartbreak into higher standards. And that is the most powerful transformation of all. There comes a point in life where you stop looking for safety in other people. You stop expecting someone to save you, to understand you completely, to never hurt you, because you realize no one else can give you the peace you keep losing when you put your trust in the wrong hands. Real security doesn't come from relationships, promises, or validation. It comes from knowing that even if everyone walks away, you'll still be standing. That is the essence of strength, being your own safe place. When the world shows you its fakeness, when people betray, disappoint, and disappear, you have two choices. You can close your heart and live in constant fear of connection. Or you can open your eyes and build something stronger, not walls, but foundation. The difference is simple. Walls keep everyone out. Foundations keep you stable. You can't control the loyalty of others, but you can control the strength of your own roots. Being your own safe place means you stop outsourcing your worth. You stop waiting for someone else to see your value before you believe in it yourself. You stop needing people to choose you to feel enough, because when you keep seeking external validation, you hand over your emotional power. You let the world decide how you feel about yourself. And that's why you're always unsettled, because your peace depends on forces you can't control. The day you stop chasing reassurance and start trusting your own judgment, everything changes. You no longer need constant approval. You no longer bend yourself to fit someone's expectations. You no longer explain your boundaries to people who were never meant to cross them. You become grounded in who you are, so rejection doesn't shake you, silence doesn't scare you, and fake people can't confuse you, because your self-worth is no longer a debate. It's a fact. Learning to trust yourself is an act of coming home. It's about rebuilding that inner connection that the world taught you to ignore. Society trains you to look outward for answers, to compare, to copy, to seek guidance from everyone but yourself. But intuition is your oldest truth. It's your quiet inner compass that whispers before the world shouts. When you betray your intuition, you betray yourself. When you ignore that gut feeling just to keep peace with others, you lose peace with yourself. Being your own safe place means you stop silencing that inner voice. You start honoring it even when it tells you things you don't want to hear. You'll notice that the more you trust yourself, the quieter you become. You won't need to explain your decisions, justify your distance, or defend your peace. You'll just move differently. You'll walk away when energy feels off. You'll say no without guilt. You'll forgive but not forget. You'll love deeply but not blindly. Because trusting yourself means knowing that protecting your peace is not cruelty. It's clarity. It's refusing to abandon yourself for the sake of keeping others comfortable. There's immense freedom in realizing that you are your own protector. You don't need to beg people to treat you right when you can enforce your standards. You don't need to fear being alone when your solitude feels like sanctuary. Loneliness fades when you start enjoying your own company. When your silence becomes comforting instead of heavy, that's when you've found yourself again. Understand this: being your own safe place doesn't mean you never trust anyone again. It means you trust your ability to handle what happens if they change. You trust yourself to walk away when it's time, to rebuild when things fall apart, to choose peace even when chaos calls your name. You trust yourself to survive what hurt you before. That's power. Because the truth is, no betrayal, no disappointment, no fake person can destroy someone who has learned to rely on themselves. The world will keep testing your boundaries. People will keep wearing masks. But when your sense of peace comes from within, those things stop having control over you. Their actions may sting, but they won't define you. Their absence won't break you. You'll stop reacting, start observing. You'll see their behavior not as a reflection of your worth, but of their character. You'll understand that peace isn't something you chase, it's something you protect. Most people spend their lives searching for a person who feels like home. But the truth is, home is not a person. It's a state of being. It's that inner stillness that says, I am enough, even if no one understands me. I am whole, even if I walk alone. When you reach that place, you stop begging to be chosen. You start choosing yourself every single time. And that choice changes everything. You start attracting differently. You no longer entertain shallow connections, empty words, or temporary attention. You become allergic to inconsistency. Your peace becomes expensive. Your time becomes sacred, and your energy becomes rare. The ones who are real will feel that energy and rise to meet it. The fake will fall away, not because you push them, but because they can't survive in the presence of truth. You'll realize that solitude isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's where you learn who you are when no one's watching. It's where you heal the parts of you that betrayal once broke. It's where you rebuild your confidence, your clarity, and your calm. The world will call it loneliness, but it's really strength in disguise. Because once you learn to be at peace alone, no one can use your loneliness against you again. When you become your own safe place, love becomes a choice, not a need. You love because you want to, not because you're afraid of being alone. You give because it fulfills you, not because you need validation. You forgive because it frees you, not because you're weak. Everything becomes intentional. You move from survival to sovereignty, from seeking to knowing. The truth is, the world will always have fake people, broken promises, and disappointments. You can't change that, but you can change how you show up in it. You can stop expecting others to protect you and start being the one who protects your peace. You can stop trusting the noise and start trusting your intuition. You can stop waiting for others to love you the way you deserve and start giving that love to yourself first. And when you do, you'll notice something miraculous. The same world that once drained you will no longer touch you. The chaos around you will still exist, but it won't enter you. You'll walk through storms and stay dry. You'll hear lies, but remain unshaken. Because when you are your own safe place, no one can take that from you. So stop searching for safety in others. Become it. Stop waiting for someone to give you peace. Embody it. Stop trusting the world to be real. Just be real yourself. Because in a world full of fake, the most powerful thing you can ever be is genuine. And when your strength comes from within, you'll never fear losing anything again. The truth is, life will keep testing you. People will come dressed in loyalty and leave wearing betrayal. They'll speak about love, but act out of convenience. They'll promise forever, but mean until it's easy. You can't change that. You can't force people to be real. But you can choose to see through the illusion, to rise above it instead of becoming bitter because of it. You see, every fake person that crossed your path wasn't a mistake. They were a mirror. They showed you what you were tolerating, what you were ignoring, what you needed to heal. They came to remind you that trust is not something you hand out freely. It's something that must be earned through action, not words. So instead of cursing the betrayal, thank it. Because without it, you would have never learned how to stand on your own. You are not broken because you trusted the wrong people. You are wiser because of it. You are not cold for walking away. You are grounded. You are not bitter for choosing distance. You are protecting your peace. There's power in silence. There's power in being selective. There's power in keeping your circle small, but solid. So from this point on, let them underestimate you. Let them assume you're naive. Let them think your calm is weakness, because they'll never see the storm you survived to become this steady. They'll never know how much betrayal it took for you to learn discernment. They'll never understand that the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loud one. It's the one who trusts no mask, believes no flattery, and walks in peace while everyone else is performing. You owe no one your vulnerability. You owe no one your loyalty until they've proven worthy of it, but you owe yourself the kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. That's your responsibility. That's your freedom. Because when you stop trusting everyone, you start trusting the right one, yourself. And that's when everything changes. You stop chasing people and start attracting purpose. You stop reacting to betrayal and start observing behavior. You stop searching for love in others and start radiating it from within. You no longer need validation, attention, or acceptance because you've already accepted yourself. Understand this. The world is full of fake, but that doesn't mean you have to become one of them. You can still be kind, just not blind. You can still care, just not carelessly. You can still love, just not lose yourself in the process. Real doesn't mean open to everyone. Real means aligned, aware, and unshakably self-trusting. So the next time someone lies to you, betrays you, or disappoints you, smile. Not because it didn't hurt, but because you now see clearly. Because the moment fake people fall away, you make space for truth. Because every time you choose yourself over their deceit, you evolve, and evolution is the ultimate revenge. Not anger, not bitterness, but peace. Life will always be full of masks, illusions, and noise. But those who survive, those who thrive, are the ones who learn how to stand still in the middle of it all. Untouched, unbothered, and unbreakable. The ones who no longer need to expose the fake because truth exposes itself in time. So walk alone if you have to. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Be kind, but not a fool. Listen, but don't absorb. Observe, but don't expect. Trust actions, not words. And when in doubt, return home to yourself. Because no matter how fake the world becomes, your truth will always be your greatest armor. You don't need to trust everyone to live a full life. You just need to trust that you can handle whatever life brings. That's strength. That's wisdom. That's freedom. And in a world where everyone's pretending, the most powerful thing you can ever be